Alright, so this is the tutorial. I will cover how you can transfer a model from 3ds Max into twinmotion and set up animation and rendering there. The first question before you start to transfer the file is just to download the twinmotion. There's a lot of really good online tutorials about this program. I don't think I want to actually cover this in the class, but if you just simply Google twinmotion, you should be able to see a lot of tutorials, and also the website you can download twinmotion. The twinmotion is a program allow you to create direct connection between Revit, SketchUp, Rhino, many program directly into this rendering engine. If it's the first time you use it, I highly recommend that you read through this online tutorial. Just go to the main page of twinmotion, watch the video. You might also want to download the plugins, and the plugin definitely allow you to have a direct connection from those programs into twinmotion, so you don't have to export as FBX and then later re-import. You can create direct synchronize across multiple programs. You can even synchronize multiple files, multiple Revit, multiple Rhino into twinmotion. There's some really good reference there. I discussed about data smiths, what's the benefit of using this direct link. Okay. In our case, we are not really using this direct link. The reason is in CGC, we don't really install these plugins for Revit and SketchUp and Rhino. So you have to use in kind of conventional way, FBX. It's not too bad, but I will show you the whole process, how to do that through the CGC computer. Okay, so this is the twinmotion main website. You can download plugins. So back to CGC computer. This is my last 3ds Max model. If you recall, I created this model, did some freeform modeling, and also just a quick thing to show you in the unit setup. I set up as a metric, and the units right now is a centimeter. Right. Also, I think I covered a little bit. It's always a good idea. You want to measure distance before you export your model. Just make sure the scale is not off. So here I can measure the height. I see the height is roughly about 10 meters. That's correct. Okay, so this is the way you want to prepare your model before you export. Another good thing I usually do is, if you look at, this is the model I have: frame, massing, plan, V-Ray. V-Ray actually doesn't gonna be transferred because twinmotion is not gonna recognize this V-Ray line. But it's always a good idea before you export. I will do a quick pivot effect, pivot only. I will center two objects. This will give you a lot of freedom later. If you want to rotate the model or scale the model, the center point of your model will be actually in the geometric center. Right? So center objects will be really handy if you do that. Okay, I think then I'm ready. The last thing you want to make sure your model is close to 0, 0. So it's not really super far away from 0, 0. Then I'm going to export this model into FBX. So export selected. I will choose FBX. I will give this file name maxout3 and save. Okay, so this is how you export a file and later can bring into twinmotion. In the embedded media, usually I will check that. So that means all the material will be included into this FBX file. And also it's my habit, just always check the units, make sure the units is correct. So by default it's centimeter. It's just following up default project. And I click OK. So what happens is it will compile all the geometries, all the materials, plus the UV mapping in Max into FBX. Okay. All right, I'm done. Just keep warning: the following are not supported. Okay, that's fine. I'm not doing the lights. Some material may not be supported. This is V-Ray material. That's fine, because eventually I'm gonna reapply the material in twinmotion, right? So I don't really care too much about these V-Ray materials. Alright, so I got this FBX file. If you do want to take a quick look at the FBX file, I export it is in the default project. I think I saved the file right here. And export folder, just be aware where you can find this file. Right, so this is about 7 KB megabits. Then let's go back to twinmotion. To run twinmotion, if you're using the CGC computer, this is the location you have to go. Program files, Epic Games, twinmotion, and you double click this executable file. So you have this program right open here. If it's the first time you open twinmotion, just a quick heads up about UI. So first, you can use your right mouse button to change your view. You can look around. Right? It's kind of like you're standing there, you look around. Also, you can use the WASD to navigate. So right now, I don't have any objects here. This background is pretty far away, so you don't really see the move. But let's do something really quick. I will simply import my FBX file, so you can have something in your focal point. So the file, I will go ahead, open the FBX. So that's in export folder, max alt 2, right? So that's the file. In options, in general, this is actually not very important for this file because we only have a few objects, we have a few material. But in general, you want to keep hierarchy. So that means the converter not trying to merge objects based on the material, right? So if you have 10 objects, it will bring in as 10 objects. But if you choose this option, collapse by material, you're trying to merge objects. This could be very handy if you are bringing in, for example, a Revit file. You have many walls, they all share the brick material, right? So you probably want to merge all the walls into a single object. So in that case, you want to choose collapse by material. But in my case, I will just keep the hierarchy, right? I don't really have to worry about this z-axis because this is all z up. But for some reason, if you have like a y up, this is the place you can convert. Okay, and I click OK. I should get everything loaded in a second. So here, if you click this arrow, right, you can see the list of objects. So here's a max alt FBX. And if you double click, you can see the objects. Right click, you can zoom to the selection, right? So it's right there. I can definitely, see 3 objects being carried over from my 3ds Max. But here's something you will find is pretty funny. So first, I have these 3 objects in, right? These objects looks all right. Frame. My thing looks weird because I have all the lattice, frames. They all gone. I have plan. Plan looks fine. I have the material carried in. So you might be wondering, hey, what's going on? Why this massing model looks different from the 3ds Max? Here's the reason. If you click the massing model, and if you look at the history of this massing model, I did a lot of these actions, right? I did the quantify, I did turbo smooth, I did the lattice, which is the one you create this, framework. I create some normal conversion. I apply the UVW mapping. So all of these actions is actually in the history. You have to right-click and collapse into the geometric shape. Otherwise, it's just remember as a history node. So I will collapse all. Click yes. So basically, all of these actions merged as embedded into this geometric mesh, right? And then I will have to re-export this one more time. I think it's a good idea. I will save this as a different copy. Just a reason I don't want to lost the history. So I will make this one as a new name. Maybe it's a collapsed. Yeah. So I have a reference for the original one. Then I'm going to export this one more time. All right, export selected. I will probably just do a new one. Let's see, max 4, so you can compare with the previous version. Everything here is the default. I will click OK, and I will compare the file size. right? You can see the max out 4 is a little bit larger than the 3, right? The reason is we have all of this detail embedded in the geometry. So now I will come here and then I will re-import this guy, right? So I will just probably simply delete this, and I will simply import, I will actually delete this, and I will re-import the max 4. All the options, I will do keep hierarchy, click OK. I will say I want to use same material. Oh, it has the same name. I would say keep both. That will be safe. Here we go. Right, you got this geometry in. All the detail is reserved. So this is the quick way you can bring a 3ds Max model into twinmotion. If you're not sure about the scale, this is a quick way to test. You can simply, click this library, and then you can put the people in. So here I will go to characters, maybe just steel character. I will, drag the people in. Right. So you can tell this is the right scale because we have this structure about 10 meters high. So regular people is about 2 meters. So have 5 people, right? So that's right. That's the right height. Okay, so I think that's all about the whole process, how you can bring 3ds Max file into twinmotion. In the next step, I will talk more about user interface and how you can manipulate the look, how you can set up lighting, apply the material, as well as how to export into animation and a 360 panoramic image. All right, so let's continue. For the UI in twinmotion, I prepared a short notes. So here you can see the items I'm going to cover. The first thing we just covered is how to transfer the file from FBX into twinmotion. I cannot really demo direct link in this machine, but just check the twinmotion website. You can find a lot of tutorials on that. Before I go through this file, I just want to show you quickly about another 2 files I made. Just show you if you transfer a model from Revit, for example, into twinmotion. I did this through the FBX file, and I use collapse objects based on the material. So you can see all the wall with the concrete material, they are actually merged as a single objects. So this will be pretty convenient if you have a lot of similar geometries, multiple geometries share the same material. So you can definitely do that. And you can definitely see the scene hierarchy from Revit, if you merge material, is a lot of shorter than the default hierarchy, because the default one with hundreds of small components. Here you got a relatively cleaner list of geometries. Another really good benefit to bring these things in with merged materials is if you want to swap, for example, the window. You will see all the windows actually merged as a single window. So here is relatively easy if you pick the material. If you want to change, hey, I want to make the glass a little bit different. Maybe I want to change the color to a little bit reddish. And click OK, you see all the window became red, right? So you don't have to apply this individually to each objects. So this is pretty convenient. You can sort of have this really quick change to the model, right? Oh, by the way, I think when you transfer a model in from Revit, most of the light information is gone because they are a little bit different. But you can always create new lights here in twinmotion. You can go to lights. There's a different type of LES profile you can drag in. You can apply the new lights easily. So here you can see this is the light I actually added here in twinmotion. I can adjust the height. I can change the XY location. I can control the details like intensities. Okay, so just let you know. Typically in program, you want to make sure your geometry is correct. your UV mapping is right. So Max and Maya is a really wonderful tool. You can do the UV mapping. Once you bring into twinmotion, you can adjust other features like material, can add people, furniture easily in. Is a really quick process. So here I can show you really quick. If I want to add a few items, maybe I want to do a sofa here, I can just simply drag and drop the geometries into my scene. Is a little bit funny. Sometimes it has automatic snap, so it's not necessarily the correct orientation, but you can definitely make adjustment. If you drag this on the ground, it's actually gonna detect the surface on the ground, right? But since this one has a window there, so you have to do some manual work. But you can get the idea. It's very easy. You can easily create a lot of details. Right. So I will actually go back to my previous file, Playground 3, and I will talk briefly about UI in twinmotion and how you can start to build up your own details, material, and lighting. Okay, so the first thing, I'm actually using this guideline to make sure I not forget anything. We already covered FBX to twinmotion. We already covered a little bit about scene hierarchy, which is right here. You can see the list of objects. So let's move on to the next one. Is about the UI. In the UI, you have the shortcut number key from 1 to 7. They have a different usage. So here, if I look at this panel, will tell you the speed 1 to 4 will control how fast you can navigate through the scene. So for example, if I use AWAS, right, AWSD, I can navigate. But if I press 1, so that means this speed is 1. If I do this move, it's a very slow move. But if I press number 4, then I do AW is a very fast movement. Right? So you can use this way to adjust how you want to navigate through the scenario. Sometimes, 2 and 3 is the best choice. Right? If you combine the AWSD with your with your right mouse button, you can really easily navigate through the environment. It takes some time to get used to it. You can use a Q to go up, E to go down. Okay, so this is 1 to 4 for the speed control. Number 5, if you press, for example, if you make a selection of objects. I don't think that's actually mapped to any. Oh, it is. Number 5 is a move. You can tell here is a move. Number 6 is rotate. Number 7 is scale. So you can make some manipulation in your twinmotion. For example, here I want to scale up this guy. I will just simply, do the scale. Or I can move. I can rotate. There's a gizmo right here. So if I go closer, you can see this arrowhead. So here, if I highlight the axis, I can rotate, and you can do move. You can definitely see this axis. It's a little bit hard to tell if you have this yellow color highlight, but it's right here. Wonder if you can see that on the screen. All right, so we got that. I will Control Z to undo. So this is the 1 to 7 for the number key on the keyboard. The next one, I want to talk quickly about F1 for help. The twinmotion is usually designed to self-learning. There's not much thing is super complicated. So anything, if you are not sure how to use it, whenever you see there is a F1, if you roll over here, you can see the F1. If you press that, you can basically open the help menu about that button. So it's really designed for people to do the self-learning. So if I do F1, I can pop up the website where is a tutorial about this particular button. Right? It's really well organized. I would encourage you, whenever you see F1, press it, and then learn from this online tutorial library. Okay. So let's move on to focus selection. This is another really good trick. Whenever you make a selection, you can right click, then you do zoom to selection. This is a quick way. Go up a little bit, you can see the objects I just focused. Okay, and then use W to move forward. So that is a focus selection. The next one about camera visual effects. In twinmotion, if you complete the import, you can go to other settings. So one of the settings here, actually you can go here, is there are multiple ways you can access the camera. So you can click this arrow, this eyeball, and then you can see time of day. If you click, you can basically adjust the lighting, right? Time of day. And also you can go to here, this is a camera. No, this is actually a screenshot, sorry. Yeah, the camera is actually, where is it? Oh, it's actually here in settings. Here is the camera. Okay, so if you go to cameras, you can actually play with the focal field of view. You can play with the focal distance. You can play with lens flare. You can play with the visual effects. You can apply different filters. So it's really, really robust. You can get quickly different styles, but usually I will keep as a default line filter. Okay, so this is a filter for visual styles. Back to this eyeball, this is a place you can switch the different views. So you can go to elevation view, top view, default view. In the top view, you can also do the clipping. You can drag it, so basically cutting through the model. Right. Back to perspective. Another similar tool, this is called tools sections. You can basically create a section cube. This is very similar like in Revit. You can create a cube, right? This cube will basically cut through your model. And you can see the section cube is right here. You can flip the cube, so it's only display the geometries within. And then you can change the scale, you can rotate. Right? So that's how you can easily create some section perspective if you want using the section cube. Right? Delete this, I don't really need this. Alright, what else I want to cover? UV mapping. Let's talk about this really quick. The UV mapping, in general, you want to make it done in 3ds Max. But however, if you do have the geometries, for example, this guy, if I pick the material, let's just pick right here. This is the material come through 3ds Max. Right? It's a gray color. You have the color. You can basically play with it. You can easily change the color here. You can play with reflections to make it a little bit like a metal. See the difference. You can change the scale. You can change the weather. But it doesn't really have a texture. So if I want to apply a new texture to this, complicated form, I can actually go to materials, and this is really the robust library you have in twinmotion. You have many different options here. Even give you the option you can load additional materials from the scanned library. I will show you. Besides this library, you have a Quixel. The Quixel has a lot of large scanned material as well. So it's super large, right? So let's go back to the default material. The Quixel library, be careful. Some of the material are actually 4K, super large. All right. So for example, I want to change the material of this ground. I think this ground is easier. Let's change this to, maybe brick. And here I will choose a brick. Then I will drag and drop. Now you see the brick on ground, right? For the default UV mapping, this UV is come from whatever FBX carried in. But also this is a place you can change the UV mapping. This could be handy, depends on the situation. Let's using this purple color frame as example. If I drag the break to these frames, you see the UV mapping doesn't look very nice. I mean, it's okay, but some of these frames, they are kind of carried this break pattern in a kind of weird way. So this is opportunities twinmotion allow you to change the UV mapping directly here in twinmotion. You don't have to go back to the Max or other program. So for example, if you change to the cubic UV mapping and drag it again, right, you see the break now is follow the cubic mapping. It's still not ideal, it's just because of the complexity of the shape. But you get a sense, this part of the columns, they looks right now, right? But if I choose this to, let's say, spherical mapping, and I drag this again back, that will be mapped based on a sphere shape. It doesn't look right, but you got a point. This is the location you can have access to multiple UV mapping. Probably cubic mapping is the best choice. Then I can drag a material and drop. Right. In fact, this one doesn't really carry the material as break. I want something more like plastic. So I will just using this guy, drag and drop. Right, this looks better. All right, and then you can play with different settings. The same thing, whenever you use this dropper, right, picker, you can pick the current material. You can also click this library. This is all the material currently loaded in your twinmotion file. So here, if I want to, for example, let's pick this break. I want to make this break more reflective, so I can drag this bar. Now you can see the reflection definitely gonna impact. Okay, so let's go E a little bit lower. Right, you see the difference. I can make this look super shiny, glossy, right, like the break. You might wonder what the weather on means, and also the setting means. Setting actually allow you to access more control. For example, bump, glow, metal, two-side. This is all relevant to what you have learned in other program. Here, if you click more, you will see other controls like texture, opacity, mask, luminosities. If you click texture, you can basically see the image. It could be a JPEG, could be a PNG. This is the place you can open your customized image to replace the current one. Right. So if you want to create a painting on the wall, this is the location you can just download the painting, do some Photoshop work, and then apply as your own texture. So that is in this hierarchy. So first pick the material, then you click more. You can access how to customize this material. Back to this question, what this weather means. This will actually a pretty cool feature here in twinmotion. It does allow you to control the weather and lighting. So weather, you can actually make the weather like a rainy day. So it's raining, and then you can see this texture. This material will actually reflect what kind of situation you have. So you have the rain. If I have the season like snow, you do see the texture will update, reflect that snow season. So it's a pretty cool features in twinmotion you can have. You can easily create this kind of visual effects, right? Different weathers. Right, let's go back to the sunny day. What else I want to cover? So UV mapping we covered a little bit. We covered a little bit about customized material. Next thing I want to talk really quick about push to cloud. This is really optional. I'm not really trying to do right here, but I can. Let me do this. I will switch quickly to my local PC because I have twinmotion here as well. This is my local PC. I have a different version of this playground. Right. So I just want to show you push to cloud. This is the button. if you click, which allow you to set up, if you are a beta user, it allows you to publish this model directly online. So I can show you what exactly this looks like. So once you push this into the twinmotion cloud, it's basically using a virtual machine to host your model. So all the GPU, all the rendering is handled in cloud. And here, if you want to show your model, you can do view. So it's basically launch this program in a remote computer. It's kind of similar like a CGC computer, how this streamed data through an interface. Right? So that computer now is initializing your presentation, which is basically an identical copy of your file published to the cloud. Right? So once this model is loaded, you should be able to interact with the model exactly the same fashion as twinmotion. But you can push this as a link to your client. I believe you can also run this in some mobile device. So here I can look around. You can see the people I put in. I put the furniture in. I can easily control the speed here as well. In the settings, I can change the different preset. Twinmotion is the default preset for the navigation. You can also control the settings, like, for example, time of day, maybe late afternoon, right? So you can have this easily change in real time. And you can also change the other settings, like, for example, rendering style. You can do shaded, you can do metal, right? So there's all kinds of preset filters available in this program. But anyway, I will leave that to you. If you decide to sign up in the twinmotion cloud, this is the way you can push your model. It takes some time to publish, but once it's published, you can share this model with other people. All right. So I think that's let's actually use my. I think I can use my local version. That looks the rendering quality is a little bit better. So let's not worry about the CGC version. I will use my local version. Okay. So this is a twinmotion. I quickly put a tree there. I put a box there. This UV mapping doesn't look right. So here I will quickly pick material. I probably want to choose cubic UV, and then I will go ahead, maybe do a wood, drag it in. Right. So since I'm using cubic UV, you'll see the edge looks much better. If I Control Z to undo, it was a planar UV, but I redo. Yeah. But once you apply it to the cubic, it looks much nicer. Maybe I want to bouncing off a little bit reflection. I like this kind of shiny. All right, very nice. So have everything set up. I do want to show you is if you click these objects actually come from 3ds Max. I didn't do the center pivot, right? In Max you can do that. I didn't do it. That's the reason the center point is actually pretty far away. This makes the manipulation a little bit a headache. So that's the reason I would recommend you do the center pivot before you transfer FBX in. All right, and if you drag people, it will automatically attach to the top surface. So it's pretty nice. Okay. All right, so push to cloud. The last one section, we already covered that. Do this with the section box. So let's talk quickly about export your model into renderings. All right, so let's quickly talk about export. Before you export, make sure you set up some angles for your camera. So I want to do maybe a few images. I want to do some panorama, and maybe I want to do a video. So this is the location you can set up this stage. So I already did this one. This is done earlier. I basically just change your camera to an angle you like, and then you will just simply click create image. So basically, this is not a render yet. twinmotion just simply remember, hey, this is the settings for your camera. Right? So you have two images. Same thing for Panorama. This allows you to do the 360-degree view. So for example, if I want to do something like, imagine I'm kind of in a cage, right? In this cage, I want to do this 360-degree to look around. Right? So I can create a panel. So I can create another panorama image. I did this in the earlier one. Really simple. The same thing, I'm going to do a video, for example. In this video, actually, I will delete this one so I can create a new one. So create a new video. By default, it's just using your current pose as the first 10 seconds, right? So you have to be careful. Within 10 seconds, you don't want to flash through the entire football, right? Football field. You probably want to move a little bit, but not too far away. And then you create another snapshot. So this is similar like in SketchUp. You just set up this stage. So you have 10 seconds fly from one thing to the next thing. So don't make it too far. I would say in general 20 to 30 seconds is pretty long already. You don't have to do a super long one. I would say definitely within 1 minute. That will be too long if it's more than 1 minute. So here maybe I want to add another one. So here if I fly, you can see 10 seconds from 1 to 2, 10 seconds from 2 to 3. Okay, so I have this video, and then I'm ready to export. So here in the export, in the video, right now it's empty. Make sure you select this guy. So this video will be added as your exported video. Panorama, I want to select this guy. You select this guy. So I have panorama. For the image, I want to select this image. Okay. So just make sure you set up your media before you export. There's also other controls. If you want to go to the settings, right? Video 2 settings, you can control the format. You can control the standard codec. You can create 360 video if you want. So there's a lot of options here. Same thing for image. Right? If you click more, you can control other settings. Okay. All right. So I think that's pretty much I want to do to just one more thing for the image. I think I forgot one more thing. When you set up the image, this is actually a pretty cool feature I want to show you. And you can control the location. So if you want to make this sunlight directly like in Cincinnati, you can pick up Cincinnati as your location. You can adjust time of day, right? So this is not a rendering yet, it's just a preview. You can set up locations, days, you can change the background. If I'm not want to do, I can do a mountain view, for example. I can do that. And I can change the orientation of the mountain view. So there's a lot of flexibilities in this image control. Just want to show you it's right here more. In the format, I think you're all familiar. You can do 2K, 4K, or you can do customize. I think 2K should be fine. All right, so that's controlled in the more. Whenever you see a tiny more button, go ahead, check it out. Okay. So now I'm ready to export. I already identified one image, this one panorama, and one video. Okay. Then I will just click export. I will save the file into my C drive. I think I have this default folder. Yeah, probably not a good idea in the C drive. Let me just do that in my, this is my local computer, just let you know. Give this folder, twinmotion folder, okay? All right, really depends on the resolution of your image and also the length of your video. This could take some time, I estimate 6 minutes. That's not too bad. Oh, I forgot one thing. Maybe it's good to have some rain and snow when we do the video. Okay, so let's do that really quick. So first, I will quit the media mode since you are logged right now. So quit, and then I will go ahead. Let's just change the time of day a little bit to the late afternoon. I think this is a kind of lighting I like. And I go to settings. I go to weather. I kind of like the rain, or maybe snow. Let's do that. So it's a snow season. All right, that's good. Then I go to the video, and I want to see. Okay, if I play, all right, it's there, but it doesn't really carry the weather information. I wonder why. Probably have to reset this right here. Interesting. Okay, but now it's in the media, video 2 settings weather. Right, it's not in the general weather. It's in the video 2 weather. That's good. So we have this snow kind of in a video 2 settings. So this is the place you can access. Besides weather, I can also control the lighting, exposure, global illumination, shadow, white balance settings. You can control the sun intensity. Wow, that's tons of control here. You can definitely play with it. I'm actually pretty happy with the default. So it's in a video 2 setting weather. Camera, what kind of camera? Oh, I can control the field of view as well as a focal length. I don't know, maybe not doing the focal length vignette. I can make this really strong, so it's a black, dark corner. Visual effects, I don't want to apply any filters, but if you want, you can. This is a place you can do some kind of stylized. But I'm gonna remove the snow, so I think I want to keep the snow. Cool. Then I think I'm ready to export back to video, back to export. I will create media mode, save the file one more time, then I'm ready to export. Yeah, so select folder. Let's wait another 10 minutes. Okay. All right, so after about 10 minutes, I got everything exported. So here I can show you. So first in the Panorama, I think I did twice. That's fun. You can open, you see this is basically a Panorama image, 360-degree. If you publish this in Google Photo Album or Facebook, you can basically see this as 360. Also, I have this still image, pretty nice quality. And also I have this video. Right? That's about 20 seconds, 30 seconds with the snow, really nice. You even see the snow accumulate on that surface, right? Really nice. And here's the first video, 20 seconds long with the sunny day. Okay, I think that's pretty much about the whole process used twinmotion. It's a very, very powerful program. There's a tons of stuff you can dig into. Especially, I would encourage you to play with the materials. Try to find a material you want to load into your environment and play with the details. For example, if I go to stones, I can find it just using stone as example. Drag the stone. Well, I have to go back to the. Let me turn off the snow. It's too much weather. Weather. Let's just make not too much snowfall. And then here I will go ahead create the. Let's maybe just using this as an example. I want to show you how you can customize the material. So here, if you pick up this material, you can definitely control the scale. If it's small, large, you can try that. Reflectivity, we already covered this. You can make it super reflective, not reflective at all. You can customize the diffuse color. So you can make this color shift to particular temperature. You can set up other things like bump mapping. You can make it really bump or no bump at all. So it's the same rule as other program. You should play with it to get things you like. I think so far that's all I want to cover for twinmotion. There's definitely other settings. In the future, maybe I will give a separate another tutorial on animated cars, animated people. Probably it's not really needed for still renderings, but if you do want to make a movie, they do have animated people in. You can definitely drag in, but be careful, this is going to increase your overall rendering time and file size. Okay, there will be also some really good tutorial you can look into is using VR as a way to present. This will generate a really large file, executable file. This is actually the field you can talk about connection to Unreal, which is a game engine. You can push a twinmotion model there. You can do a lot of cool stuff like turn on the light, open the door, first person, third person flies through. So this is the place you can check out more information on the VR and the connection to the Unreal engine. I will leave that to you. Okay, I think that's it for this twinmotion tutorial.